Professional Development course. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to quite a good day. It'll be good to have more insight in this. It's been quite a topic that a lot of people have been interested in, so this will be quite a good one for us. I'll just be doing a quick introduction and some housekeeping rules. Okay, just to go overview with the Geological Society of South Africa, which has been promoting the study and advancement of earth science since 1895. Here's just a quick broad overview of benefits of a GSSA member, providing you basically with a professional home covering a wide range of aspects. For example, your branches and divisions, sections, professional code and ethics, continued professional development, which we are doing today, technical scientific meetings, which is live and recorded events, REI funds, which is access to funds of research activities. We'll also have international, regional, and local alliances, as well as mentorship opportunities, very good mentorship opportunities for students and the like, recognized professional organization, access to SA Journal of Geology, and the Geo Bulletin and newsletter, which keeps us up to date with all the activities of the GSSA. We've got a 2023 events list that's also available on the newsletter and all the correspondence of the GSSA. As you can see, it's quite a wide variety. We'll have workshops as we're doing now online, hybrid events, field trips, and also one-day event talks. So quite a nice variety. So keep up, have a look at those and see if anything you are interested in. And obviously today we are doing our online CPD workshop. This will be, like I said, quite an interesting one for the day. And our speaker for today will be Tania Marshall. Tania Marshall has been actively and continuously involved in the diamond and gemstone exploration mining industry since 1985. In 1996, Dr. Marshall founded Explorations Unlimited and has been consulting and contracting to numerous local and international exploration and mining companies, and also lectures at the Department of Mining Engineering at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. Dr. Marshall is a member of various professional and statutory bodies. In addition, she is the immediate past chairperson of the SAMCode Standards Committee, chair of the SAMREG Diamond Working Group, vice chair of the Global Geoscience Professionalism Group, as well as the president of the Geological Society of South Africa. Our annual sponsors of the GSSA this year is Index, MaxGeo, SACNASP, Sequent, Acquire, GeoExplore Store, DMT Kaya Butler, AMOS, and UCP Africa. And we thank them very much for their continuous support. I would like to just go through a quick couple of housekeeping rules. Could you please keep video microphone off during the presentations? Please raise your hand when you wish to ask a question. Open the chat to type a question that can be answered during or the end of the presentation. Note that CPD points, GSSA, 2 credits for formal learning. SACNASP is 0.2 credits, category 1. Please make sure to name yourself correctly in order to facilitate a certificate of attendance for this workshop. We've also noted that there's one cell phone number. It starts with Z22017. Could you please rename yourself so that we can get your name for your certificate of attendance for the workshop? Thank you very much. And thank you very much. I'll hand over to Tania, and I look forward to a good workshop day today. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Loni. Okay, to answer the 2 questions that are in the chat, Yogeshni, thank you very much. We note that you've changed, and most of the events will be available as recordings. Okay, so let me get my screen Okay, morning everybody. Welcome to the online CPD workshop. Now this workshop only works properly if you guys engage. We're here to answer questions for you, so please ask questions as we go along, or you can wait to the end. If you put the questions in the chat box, I'll try and see them as they come through. But it's so much easier if you just put a hand up. Right, so continuing professional development. Well, this is one of the fundamental pillars of professionalism, the other two being registration and professional conduct. And CPD is something that we do not only in the geosciences, but in pretty much every vocation. Reason being, knowledge cannot be static. If we don't keep up with what is happening in our field of practice throughout our life, we're going to fall behind and become irrelevant. Sorry, I'm trying to get my to move. Okay, so what is CPD? Well, simply put, it's a term that we use to describe the things that we learn. And the things that we learn in order to develop and enhance our skills with respect to the work that we are doing in our chosen career. It refers to everything that we learn both formally and informally beyond our initial training at university. And not only refers to what we're doing, but how we track it and how we then log it. So think of your CPD as a digital record or a logbook of the things that you learn and experience with respect to your chosen career. Some of the key features of a CPD program is that it is driven by you. You decide the things that you want to learn. It's not your employer or your registration authority who tells you what courses you have to go on. You decide what is going to develop you as a person. So, and it includes both formal and informal. It uncovers gaps in your skills and capabilities. So you would look at your life at what you know and what you don't know and where you would like to be. And so you would plan to do certain things, then you would do them, and then you would log them. So it helps you keep up to date with what is happening in your field of practice. Now, whether this be technical, academic, procedural, or whatever. The principle of CPD is inherent in the GSSA Code of Ethics. Demonstrating CPD is not a requirement of GSSA membership. But in terms of the Code of Ethics, it's a moral and professional organization. Even though it might not be a requirement for GSSA membership, it's highly recommended for your own professional advancement, irrespective of where you're employed, in academia or in industry. It's not only applicable to those guys employed in industry, it's just as applicable to anybody else. I noted that it's not a requirement of membership of the GSSA. If, however, you wish to apply for chartered status, then you need to demonstrate CPD. It is a requirement. And chartered status within the GSSA, that is, if you are going to be using your GSSA membership to sign off as competent persons. Under those circumstances, you are required to demonstrate CPD. SACNASP, if you're a member of SACNASP, and we all are required to be registered with SACNASP, SACNASP requires registration or requires CPD. It also introduced CPD in 2017, and the first cycle was completed in 2022. So we are now in the second cycle of CPD as far as SACNASP is concerned. So we land up with a situation where we want to do CPD for the GSSA. We want to do CPD for SACNASP, two different systems. That causes total complications. So now, because the GSSA is a voluntary association associated with SACNASP, we have been able to make an arrangement with them whereby if you are a member of the GSSA and also registered with SACNASP, you don't have to do your CPD in both places. You can choose for yourself where you are going to log your credits. It doesn't really matter where you log your credits. That choice is yours. We'll come to that in a moment. Compliance with one system is deemed to be compliance with the other. And it's this word deemed to be compliant that's important, because while there are many elements common to both systems, they are different in many ways, and particularly in the way in which they allocate credits. There would be different numbers of credits for different activities. You saw in the introduction where Loni mentioned that this course, there are 2 credits available under the GSSA system, but only 0.2 under the SACNASP system. There are also different combinations and classifications of activities, because SACNASP has 3 different categories and the GSSA has 4 different categories. So they are quite different in the way in which they work. So it is not possible to simply transpose information from one system to another. Once you've logged your points on one system, it's not going to magically appear on the other system. Also, SACNASP cannot simply siphon off the information from the GSSA site or vice versa, because there's are matters of protection around of personal information and other cybersecurity issues that get in the way. So you get to choose which system you want to join. It's not up to your company. It's not up to your registration organization. The choice to log CPD credits, either through the GSSA or through SACNASP, it is yours and yours alone. They're equally acceptable to both GSSA and SACNASP. You just need to decide for yourselves what better suits your situation. Notice that each system is a standalone system. In other words, you must use either SACNASP or GSSA. You can't combine them and log some courses here and some courses there. You also can't do one this year and one next year. You need to use one system for a full 5-year cycle. So if you've been doing one system and you'd like to follow the other, then you have to go back to the current time, 2022, and work from there up until today. So what I'm going to do now is just to go through each of these 2 different systems, show you the basics of what they're about, allowing you to be able to better select the system that suits you better. Okay, so the SACNASP system, we'll start with that. These are the, get that up. These are the 2 names and contact details that you should take down. These are the 2 guys that you would be dealing with at SACNASP if you run into questions about the system itself, or if you have any technical queries, difficulty getting into the website, difficulty negotiating the website, you'd speak to Johan. Anything to do with the actual program itself, you would chat to Toby. The system currently is operating from the 1st of April of last year to the 31st of March in 2027. It's a 5-year rolling cycle. Now, if you registered after the 1st of April, your cycle would be 5 years from the date of your registration. After 5 years, everything reverts to 0 when you renew your registration, and then your next 5-year cycle begins. According to the SACNASP system, you need 5 credits in a 5-year cycle. Oh, sorry, you need 5 credits per year, which makes 25 credits in a 5-year cycle. And you can have, there are 3 categories where you can claim credits. You must have credits in at least 2 out of the 3 categories, and you must at least have 1 credit from category 1. So what are these different categories? Or before we get to the different categories, if you are a candidate scientist, you will be required to have done some CPD in order to upgrade to PR SciNet. We don't know the details yet. We're hoping that they will get them out within the next month or so, and then we will put that out to everybody. Weiss, it looks as if everybody does have sound. Maybe you need to check on your correct output device. Okay, so going back to candidates, your cycle will begin on the day that you upgrade to professional. So before that, while you're a candidate, you will need to do some CPD. And then when you upgrade to professional, will revert to 0, and then you start with your standard CPD system, which would be exactly the same as everybody else is doing. Okay, so we mentioned that there were 3 different categories. Category 1 is called a developmental activity. Now notice this is a compulsory activity. These are geoscience related formal technical courses, workshops, conferences, and so on, including online events. Every developmental course has to be validated by SACNASP. When you claim it, you also need to have a certificate of attendance issued by the organizer of that event. You need to have 1 credit per year. And 1 credit effectively means a full day event, or 0.1 credit per hour. And this, as I said, is a compulsory activity. You have to get 1 full credit per year of attending formal courses. I mentioned earlier, all Category 1 activities must be validated and accredited by SACNASP before they can qualify for CPD events. And this doesn't have to be only external conferences. It can also be in-house and online events. And you need to get a certificate of validation before the event. All of our GSSA courses, all the SAIMM and SAM codes courses, these are all automatically accredited for CPD points. So us as the GSSA, we validate these courses before you come to the course, so there's no problem with anything else. If you attend a course which is run by an approved tertiary institution or a government department, these are also automatically accredited. But courses which are done through private companies or private conference organizers, the event organizer needs to accredit it through SACNASP. And they do this by registering on the website and providing information, and they pay a fee for such things. Now, I cannot stress how important it is that if you are attending a course by one of these private companies, that you make sure that they have been registered for SACNASP credits. Ask for a SACNASP validation number, which they should have beforehand. Don't just assume that they would have registered these courses with SACNASP. Often the private conference organizers do not, and then it's another long issue of getting it validated. So please ask in advance. With respect to GSSA courses, I said they would be validated beforehand, but they will only be available on the website after the event. This is because we have to provide them with a list of delegates. You then have to upload your certificate of attendance, and then SACNASP can audit whether people have actually attended or just say they have attended. That is why it's important that your name appears on the Zoom participant list and not a phone or a pseudonym, because we have to supply this to SACNASP, but also you need to get a certificate of attendance, and we can't supply a certificate of attendance to a phone or some other digital device. So what do you do if you have attended a course and then you don't see it listed on the SACNASP website? If it's a GSSA course, contact us at the GSSA and we will sort that out. For any other courses, private courses that you might be attending, you need to contact your course coordinator or the guys at SACNASP. Question from Andrea, does the GSSA keep a record of the GSSA courses that a member attends over a 5-year period? Short answer, no. We don't keep lists of who attended what. That is your responsibility. Okay, so now I'm just quickly going to go through as to how you would access Category 1 courses from the SACNASP website. So you go to the SACNASP website, click on CPD, online CPD from the drop-down menu. Put your registration number in, your ID number, and you log in. Then you select online CPD and you can see all of these. There's a list of courses that come up. You can select any one of them. If you click on here to access more documents and events, you will come across the recordings of the GSSA online courses. Okay, so that's Category 1. That means these are the formal courses, the ones that you need to do at least one of per year to get to 1 credit. The other categories is Category 2, which refers to work-related activities. 2A is natural scientific work. Now, SACNASP recognizes that much learning takes place on the job. So under this category, you can claim CPD credits for simply going to work. Now, this is fine if you're employed. It works very well, but there are many who that this might be a disadvantage for many geoscientists who are not employed. This work is also restricted to science-related work, and that can also be a challenge, particularly for those in middle to senior management positions. The second variety of work-related activities is mentoring of SACNASP candidates. So you can claim 1 credit a year if you join the SACNASP mentoring program, which, in case you missed it, is a call to all of you out there when Nolene Paul sends out a request for mentors. Remember that you can get CPD credits for it and apply to assist. The third variety of activities they're called individual activities. And for this, you get 1 credit. You need 1 credit per year. And these are the kinds of, sorry, let me go back to that. If you are a member of a recognized voluntary association, you can get 1 credit per year. In other words, if you are a member of the GSSA or SAIMM or SAIEG or a recognized voluntary association, you can get a credit simply by being a member. That doesn't automatically log across to the system. You have to add it manually. And it doesn't matter whether you belong to GSSA and SAIMM, you still only get 1 credit per year. Under category 2, does scientific literature reviews and data analysis of scientific data count as part of the natural science work? Yes, it would, if it is being done as part of your job. The second variety of activity under category 3 are basically individual activities. And here you can claim up to 3 credits per year. 10 hours would equal 1 credit. The important thing under this section is that all activities must be verified. Does being a board member of the UNESCO IGCP qualify for voluntary service? Yes, it does. Very definitely. So these are some of the things that you can add time for. If you present a paper, if you do a publication, write a technical article, even complete a postgraduate degree for people who assist with as external examiners, supervising, lecturing postgrad students, if it's not your primary job, participating in any one of these technical or non-technical committees or task groups, and that would include the ICGP program as well, evaluation of educational programs and qualifications, sitting on various committees, and even self-study. In other words, if you're sitting looking at webinars or reading journals, things like that, that can also be included. However, everything must be verified. So if you say you spend some time watching webinars, we need to have a list of the webinars that you watched, or a list of the journals that you read. Okay, and again, place to log all of these credits, you go to the same CPD, use your registration number to log in. Again, you go to there. If you look over here, there are also the drop-down list to select course categories. And this will give you a whole list of various courses that are available. This is a new feature of the SACNASP website, and it gives you generic category 1 and 3B courses. So when you drop down on here, you'll see a whole bunch of things. There will be some from geology, mineral economics, environmental, geohydrology, but there will also be courses applicable to all the other fields of practice associated with SACNASP. So don't get too concerned when you click on this drop-down list and you see categories that you know absolutely nothing about. Again, there'd be a list here. There'd be certain category 1 events, and there would also be certain category 3 events that you could select from the SACNASP website. SACNASP does allow various exemptions and partial exemptions, particularly for retired people, but those who are not working. So you'd have to be sitting fishing or crocheting or something. That would make you completely exempt from CPD. If, however, you are retired and still working, you would be exempt from category 1 activities, but you would still be. Just bear with me one moment, please. Sorry about that. One of the advantages or disadvantages from online work, there are other things that happen in the background as well. SACNASP does have this policy document, which is available on both the GSSA website as well as the SACNASP website, which will give you more information on the various types of exemptions that are available. The recording of this meeting will be sent to everybody who has attended it. You will also get a PDF of the slides as well. Okay, so again, how to add your CPD credits on the SACNASP website. You log in the same place as you did to watch the recordings or the programs. Come up with your dashboard and your CPD portfolio. You click on here to edit. And there you'll be able to add all of your credits on the next page. Okay, so what happens if you are registered with SACNASP and you don't do your CPD? If there is activity on your CPD and SACNASP can see that you are making an effort to keep up with your CPD, the world will not come to an end. But if there is no activity on your account, SACNASP is going to require that you catch up and log your credits within a specific time. And if you don't do that, then the Act allows for SACNASP to deregister you as a PRSciNet. However, the reality is, with SACNASP, the objective is to encourage personal development. They've spent so much time and effort getting you to register. They're not simply going to deregister you just like that. So they are going to bend over backwards to get you voluntarily to get and keep your CPD system up to date. This, however, is something that candidates need to note. Once the candidate regulations are in place, you won't be able to upgrade to PRSciNet if you don't comply with the requirements for candidates. So keep an eye out for what those requirements are. They will be sent to you both by SACNASP and by the GSSA as soon as we have them available. Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break. I will answer any questions that you have on the SACNASP system while we go and have some tea. Any questions from anybody as of yet? Okay, well, we will reconvene again at 10:50. That is 10 to 11. But I will be available here to answer any questions in the meantime. If you're not sure how to put up your hand, just unmute yourself and ask. Try to access the online CAD and the domain. Oh, seriously. All I can say to the advice is try again in half an hour. Unfortunately, websites have that issue. Pong, have you unmuted yourself to ask a question?
Morning all. I have a question. I might have missed it. The SAIM workshops and courses, are those listed on the SACNASP website?
Some of them are, yes. SACNASP tries to keep up to date with all of the courses. So I think most of them are, because it redirects you to the SAIM website.
Okay, no, thank you.
Okay. I will speak about how the discrepancy is solved in the next section. So all I've done now is to explain to you how to log your CPD through SACNASP. If you want to do that, that's how you will do it. Then next, we will look at how you log on the GSSA side. And then after that, we'll talk about how we correlate. Oh dear, Digby. Sorry to hear about load shedding. Unfortunately, that's a fact of life, but you'll at least get the recording. Tony, yes, question from you?
Hi, Tania. There's a huge number of really interesting courses that are outside of the South Africa context. In my case, coming out of Peru, out of North America, the US and Canada. There's many very, very good online courses that attract CPD points for a lot of those delegates out of those countries. As the system seems to stand at the moment, you have to make sure that they are registered with SACNASP in order to be able to log those kinds of courses on the system. And it has to be done before the course. How do you negotiate around all of these international courses?
In the first instance, the easiest way is to log it on through the GSSA system, because you just simply add them. If you want to do it through SACNASP, then probably the easiest way to do is to send all of the documentation either to myself or to Nolene, and we will accredit it for you.
Okay, thanks. Because I'm doing for the last 5-year cycle, I did everything through SACNASP, and I really don't want to change now mid-course in what I'm doing. I'm used to that system now. So okay, if I have a way of getting these accredited, that's great through the GSSA. That'd be great. Many thanks.
Yeah, pleasure. Okay, Rosemary. With respect to certificates of attendance, I understand that as more and more people request certificates of attendance for conferences, the organizers are becoming much more amenable to actually issuing them. So your first course is to request it from the organizer itself. Receipt of conference payment, not really useful, because many people actually, and it's unbelievable, people register and sometimes even pay for conferences and then just don't bother going. So we have on occasions accepted receipt of payment. First prize would be to try and get a certificate of attendance requested from them. And Olebele, the background to the situation which you possibly missed in the beginning of the discussion. The reason we do CPD is to keep up with what is happening in our field of practice. Because when you come out of university, you have a good idea as to what things are and where they're going. But in 5 years' time, if you don't keep up with learning, you're going to get left behind. And that is what CPD, which is continuing professional development, is about. It helps us to keep up with what is happening in our field of practice. And then it is required that we log this, let people know what it is that we are doing. And the one way we can do it is through our registration with SACNASP, or we can do it through our registration membership with the GSSA. We've spoken about SACNASP, and for the next section, we will look at the GSSA. So I'm hoping that will help you to understand what you need to do from the GSSA system. Andrea, what happens if you've been employed in a different field from geology and don't have access to category 2 activities to get CPD points for a cycle? You need then to SACNASP registration to get a job back in the field of geology. Remember, you don't have to have category 1, 2, and 3. You can get CPD credits in category 1 and 3, because SACNASP just requires that you have CPD credits in 2 out of the 3 credits. So you can get around that one. Or alternatively, you do it through the GSSA where you don't have that issue. If you want advice on getting onto the SACNASP system, probably you're talking about needing to chat to Johan. He will help you get registered and up and running. Now, what I am saying, Abdullah, is you don't have to do both systems. You only need to do one system. So you can actually do all of your CPD through the GSSA. You don't have to deal with SACNASP at all. You can do it through the GSSA. And then we have a system where if you've done it on your GSSA and it is complete, then SACNASP simply say, we accept it. So again, you don't have to deal with SACNASP. You can just deal with the GSSA. I hope that helps, Abdullah. Okay, so if we move on then, we go back to this diagram, where we are saying that if you are registered with SACNASP and a member of the GSSA, you can choose. You either do your credits on the GSSA system or on the SACNASP system, and you can be mutually recognized. You do not have to do both. Please write that down. You don't have to do both. You only do one. And just to highlight this, the choice is yours. You decide whether you want to go through the GSSA or through SACNASP. You cannot do a combination of them. You only need to do one. And again, just to highlight that they are different systems. We've had a look at how SACNASP does it. Now I'm going to show you how we do it through the GSSA. And at the end of it, you decide which one you are going to go with. So what are the benefits of the GSSA system? Well, remember SACNASP being natural science professions has to cater to the needs of the entire range of natural scientists. Physicists, agricultural scientists, veterinary scientists. So their system is necessarily complex and vague. However, the GSSA system is specific to the needs of geoscientists. We look at people who are employed or who are looking to be employed in the minerals industry, looking at metals, minerals, oil and gas, and related industries. We specifically recognize that people are unemployed, retrenched. They're based in the field. So we have developed our system to be able to deal with individuals like that. Also who might not be in South Africa, who might be anywhere in the world, because it doesn't rely only on South African GSSA content. The system, the GSSA system, is benchmarked against other international systems. We have an MOU in place with SACNASP so that we can mutually recognize each other's credits. And we are also in the process of developing MOUs with other organizations, local, regional, and international systems. For example, you might be living and working in Australia, and you have to be registered there, so you do your CPD through AusIMM. We're trying to develop an MOU with them so that you don't have to do it there and with us. You only do it one place, and you mutually recognized in the other jurisdiction. Okay, so our system is really based on honesty and integrity. If you are a normal member, you are not required to log CPD. It's best practice, and we encourage you to do it, but it's not required as a membership requirement. If, however, you are going to apply for the chartered status, then you are required to demonstrate or to log your CPD. While the system is underpinned by presumption of honesty and integrity, good governance requires that we do annual audits. Both the GSSA and SACNASP also can audit our system. The way which we work the system is that CPD credits are based on what we call professional development hours, which means that 1 hour of a activity will be converted to CPD credits on a particular scale. It's a principles-based system, so we give you some guidance. We don't give you detailed rules and regulations. And our system has been in operation on our website since 2014. The GSSA system comprises 4 different categories: formal learning, knowledge contribution, self-directed study, and professional practice. And members are encouraged, but not obligated, to collect points across the spectrum. So we encourage you to get CPD credits in each of these different categories. But unlike SACNASP, we don't say that you're obligated to go to formal courses and things like that. The objective is to try and get to 60 credits in a year. Okay, so now we're going to look at the formal learning, which, as the name suggests, this is if you would attend a formally structured course, whether it be a seminar, conference, workshop, field trip, online, in contact, irrelevant. 1 hour relates to 1 CPD credit. So if you're attending a full day course, that would give you 8 CPD credits. And the goal would be 5 days or 40 CPD credits. If you're doing a course where there is a test, then 1 hour is 1.5 times a credit, if you pass it. Notice that this module is not obligatory, so you do not have to attend formal courses under the GSSA system. You can get all of your credits in all of the other categories. With respect to the formal learning, they are not confined to GSSA organized courses. Any relevant formal learning activity is applicable. So whether you do it here in South Africa, in Peru, in Canada, in the Middle East, makes no difference. It also refers to e-learning, online courses, live streaming events, wherever. Under formal learning, what we are doing is we're looking at function-related courses. So looking at the technical courses, things like GeoCongress, gold workshops, drilling courses, things which are directly related to your function as a geoscientist. The second variety of function-related courses are non-technical courses, but these would focus on specific scenarios related to geoscientists. In other words, if you're doing a course on financial evaluation and decision-making for geologists, related to the MPRDA, mining or exploration law, this course that we're doing now, so CPD and professionalism for geoscientists, geoethics And for those of you who will attend later in the year, the course that we do on geoethics and professionalism for geoscientists, that is one of these non-technical courses, but which is function related and therefore qualifies as a formal learning course. Also, job-related language or software courses. If your company is sending you to China and you go and do a Chinese language course, that would be a function-related non-technical course. Or if they send you on a course for micromine, it's function-related. Therefore, it falls under the formal learning category. Now, as you can imagine, these non-technical courses can be subject to abuse. So these would often require explanation and motivation. And these are the kinds of courses that would generally be queried if you were to be audited. Just to note with respect to professional courses, the GSSA generally doesn't endorse third-party courses. There are a few, such as Colin Rice's drilling courses, but there are not many. So if you see a non-GSSA course that says it's endorsed by the GSSA, query this. It might not be true. It doesn't mean you can't claim for that course. It doesn't mean that it's not a good course. It's just not endorsed through the GSSA. Now, note that with SACNASP, every course had to be validated in order to be put on the system. At the GSSA, we don't validate courses. If you've been on a course, you add it to the system. But we do audit a sample of courses annually. So we would look at the list of courses that are on the website, and we might select a sample of that for auditing to see if it meets up with the requirements of what the formal learning category requires. I just want to, at this point, make a slight diversion and mention scam courses. At the moment, there seems to be a whole bunch of courses out there by third-party professional conference organizers, seem to highlight courses that you should go on, but they don't actually exist. You pay large amounts of money, and when you arrive there, the venue doesn't exist, or the course is not what you expected. So please, there's a call to people to be very circumspect when registering for courses. Make sure that that course actually exists. Chat to the course organizers, even chat to the presenters, because we've had a rash of a couple of courses where people are supposed to be presenting, but the presenter doesn't know about it. So that's just an aside. Going back to our formal learning, if you go to the GSSA website and you look on the drop-down list and you see that your course is not there. So some of the things that you can do. Firstly, contact the course coordinator and get them to add it to the list. The reason I say that is if every single person adds it, one person calls it CPD, another person calls it continuing professional development, a third person calls it CPD 2023. And so eventually we just get so many names on there that it's difficult to keep track of what is where. So ask your course coordinator to add it to the list. If they're not able to do so, then please go on to the the website and just manually add the course and the details. If you come across any issues, contact us at the GSSA, giving us as much information as possible, and we will sort that out for you. Do you know when we will conclude? We are supposed to keep going until about 12 o'clock. That is the plan. Again, any certificates of attendance, please keep them. And as I said, proof of attendance is not based on registration. For GSSA courses, you will always get a certificate of completion. And particularly if it's an examinable course, we do need it. If it's not requested, 9 times out of 10, the organizer will send you something. If they don't, we can make a plan for it. Okay, the second category is knowledge contribution. This is the time that you spend preparing and presenting materials. So whether it be presenting at a conference, at a course, leading field trips, writing, publishing papers, reviewing theses, formal mentorships, all of that can be included if it is not your day job. So if you are employed to lecture, you cannot claim that as CPD. Osama, if you would, there we go, thank you. Because we know there's a lot of time and effort involved in doing this, 1 hour that you spend preparing and presenting is equivalent of 3 CPD points. There's no maximum for this category, and you can acquire the majority of your CPD points through this. So, for example, if you're doing a presentation, typically you would claim 5 hours of preparation for 1 hour of presentation. So you would take your 5 hours, your 1 hour presentation, which would be 6 hours, you'd multiply that by 3, and you would land up with 9 credits. And if you are doing postgraduate study, they have a special dispensation of a number of hours. So if you're doing a PhD, it would be 40 hours times 3, which is 120 CPD credits straight off the bat. If you're writing a paper and it is published in a recognized peer-reviewed journal, again, we have some guidance as to the amount of hours you can claim for each paper that you write, either as a sole or first author or as a subsequent author. Notice this does not include time spent on research. That will claim under a different category. Likewise, if you're publishing a book, you can claim 60 credits in the year of publication. If you're involved in a formal mentoring program as the mentor, there are a number of these formal mentoring programs around. So if you belong to one of those, you can claim 3 CPD credits per hour, which in terms of the SACNASP program would be 120 credits per year, and you only need 60. We have internal monthly technical information sharing sessions in our consulting business. Can that count towards CPD claims? No, not really, because that's part of your day job. You get paid to do that. And it's an internal session. Okay, thirdly, the self-directed study or informal learning. Now, as it sounds, this is not a formal or structured activity. So because there's less effort that goes into it, it takes 4 hours to get to 1 CPD credit, and you're allowed a maximum of 20 credits in a year. And what that means is, if you attend informal geoscience-related lectures or field trips, such as these listed here, if you go to one of the Windsor talks, the WITS Geo talks, the African Mining Network series, and so on and so forth, the Alex de Toy lecture series. Olabili, yes, you are likely to get better opportunities if you keep up with your CPD. Training offered to junior colleagues at your company, does it count under knowledge contribution? Is it part of your job? Are you getting paid for it? Then the answer would be no. If you're doing it after hours, then possibly yes. Also included as part of self-directed study would be reading relevant journal articles, personal research for papers or presentations, reading informal technical presentations online or specialist YouTube channels. Now, unlike SACNASP, we don't ask you to give us a list of the journal articles that you read. So all of these, anybody can get to 20 CPD credits or 80 hours in a year of doing this. Finally, your professional practice. So again, we have a list of things that might be included. And under this category, CPD credits are awarded on the basis of 8 hours being equivalent to 1 CPD credit. And there's a maximum of 10 credits that you get in the year. And again, most of these are not auditable. So writing standard practice notes, taking part in internal workshops. So remember we spoke about internal workshops as not being part of knowledge contribution. They are, however, part of your professional practice. By attending a SACNASP accredited seminar, course of workshop, and you present on the same event, do you claim extra CPD points for presentation? Yes, indeed. So if you do a presentation, you can claim CPD for preparing that and for presenting and for attending. See, with the GSSA system, we want people to get credits. We want to make it easy for them to get credits. We want to make it easy for people to be part of the GSSA community going forward. Lists or links of mentorship platforms or groups. Oh, my soul. The only ones that I know of are the GSSA SACNASP candidate mentoring program, which you can find on the both the GSSA and the SACNASP website when it comes about. There's one through WIMSA. You can go to their website. And there's the Bridge the Gap at Wits University. But other categories that would, or other things that would be included in the professional practice. If you attend a relevant trade show, if you go to electromining, mining Indaba, those would also count. If you sit on the organizing committee of a conference or a course or a workshop, that also counts towards your professional practice. If you contribute to any one of these professional organizations, not only these, but any professional organization, you can count that time towards your professional practice. It also includes informal mentoring and also the time that you spend being mentored. That can also count towards professional practice. We also acknowledge that a great deal of professional development occurs on the job. So there are many activities that you do, which you would add to your CV, which could also be included in professional practice, such as developing business skills or interpersonal communication, language skills other than learning it for your job. If you just decided you wanted to learn French because you liked it, you could claim for time underneath professional practice. General software courses, for example. Also further training that you get on the job. Advanced four-wheel driving courses, fire rescue training, first aid courses, and other courses such as an MBA, which might not be directly geoscience related. So many of the things that you do in order to advance yourself can be claimed somewhere within the professional practice regime of the GSSA system. These activities are generally not auditable, but if you've got a certificate, then keep it. So in summary, then, the four categories that we have. Aquaponics, you certainly couldn't claim that under formal learning, but it would be applicable under professional practice. Okay, so if we go to a summary then, under formal learning, we're looking at attending formally structured courses. Knowledge contribution is where you claim for preparing and presenting a course or a lecture, or time spent doing these activities. Under self-directed study and informal learning, these activities. And professional practice, time that you spend doing these things. So when we look at them, this would be your annual objective. It's not a requirement. It is just something, it's a goal to reach. That would be the weighting per hour, CPD credit goal, and this would be the maximum points that you could acquire in any 1 year. And again, note that there is no maximum for contributing to knowledge. Now, if you look at this, anybody can get the maximum here of self-study and professional practice. That would lead you with 30 CPD credits, half of what your annual goal is, and it'd be then very easy to pick up the rest in either formal learning or mostly knowledge contribution. So what happens if you are a geologist stuck out in the field or based on a mine out in a remote area? The most difficult one for people to get are the formal learning, the courses. But note that this is not obligatory under the GSSA system. And certainly one of the few good things to come out of COVID is how we have dealt with online webinars, which are much more available. You don't need to be in Johannesburg to attend courses. So again, it's not obligatory. And here are some ideas as to how you could get the rest of your CPD credits. If you are unemployed or retrenched or boarded during COVID, you are still not exempt from CPD. But as you've seen, the system is designed so that you can give of your time and knowledge without spending money, but still earn sufficient CPD credits to be compliant. And some of the examples are here. There are so many free online webinars that you can attend. You can volunteer at a formal mentoring program. Become a member of one of the SAM codes committees or working groups. You can participate in GSSA activities. Being on the meeting subcommittee, the social media subcommittee, being part of the branches and divisions. Contribute to the website articles, Facebook GeoBulletin articles. You can write papers for SHG or some other journal. If you're a student, you can write up a paper based on your research, publish it. You can present at one of the GSSA events, and again, sign up as a mentor. None of these requires that you spend any money. So unemployed members can very easily do all of these things and obtain sufficient CPD credits. Yes, of course, we do have various exemptions. And again, the exemptions are benchmarked against other international geoscience organizations. So if you are fully retired, non-practicing, you get a full exemption. And you get partial exemption if you are on special leave for one or other reason. If you are retired and not doing work of a geoscience nature. And of course, there are always special circumstances, which if you have a special circumstance, will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so whose responsibility is it? Well, The GSSA's obligations, we will provide training opportunities. We provide online CPD portal where you can go in and log it. We also send annual reminders. SACNASP's obligations, likewise, they provide some training opportunities and they provide you with an online CPD portal. They also will send annual reminders and they will do audit compliance, both via SACNASP and through the GSSA. Groundwater division, again, the choice is yours. However, what I'm saying to people is, because the GSSA system is more geared towards geoscience, it is often easier to do your credits through the GSSA. But again, that final decision is yours. Your obligation is to log your credits on the system of your choice. The GSSA, SACNASP, is not going to run around making sure that they record what courses you've done or confirm how many credits you've got. That is your responsibility. The other thing that you need to do, if you have done your CPD on the GSSA system, you just need to download your certificate from the website and upload it to SACNASP. GSSA is not going to do that for you. SACNASP is not going to do that for you. You are going to do it. So how do we do this? You log into the GSSA website. You go across to Members Access and you log in there. You go to Edit My Details. Question, can you only upload to SACNASP during April or throughout the year? You can upload to SACNASP throughout the year, but it's always good to have it done before the 1st of April, because that's when their cycle begins, and that's when they tend to check it and audit it. How does CPD points fit in the competent person path? Well, we provide, again, a number of training opportunities for competent persons, and you log those as you would anything else. And yes, you will get a certificate if you are not a GSSA member. If you attend the course, you will get a certificate. Doesn't matter where you belong to. Sinclair, I'm not sure I understand if I've answered your question correct about CPD points with competent persons. Have I answered it, or is not sure? Sinclair, just unmute yourself and let me know whether, oh, you have. All right, thank you. Okay, so in the GSSA system, you go to Edit My Details. It's important that you put both your GSSA and SACNASP numbers so that compare, but we can see who's doing what. It's important that you indicate there where you're doing your CPD, through the GSSA or through SACNASP. Then you would go to my CPD points, and you would add your activities as you do them throughout the year. And then you download your CPD log report. As I said, you can do this any time of the year, but it's best to do it prior to the end of March. And then you just upload that to the SACNASP website. You do that by logging into the SACNASP website and then upload it as your evidence of compliance. And I will show you now where to do that. So again, you log into SACNASP. You go to your CPD portfolio. Here you will see it says change CPD system. And when you click on that, it comes up here. So you can confirm your field of practice and then select whether you are doing it through the GSSA. So once you've done that on your SACNASP profile, then SACNASP knows that you are doing your CPD through the GSSA. Then you go into whichever year you are dealing with, and it will allow you to upload your GSSA log here. Once you have put that in, then SACNASP knows that you are doing your CPD through the GSSA and doesn't require that you do it on a duplicate system. So it will come up here and accept the fact that you have done it. Even though you haven't logged it on the SACNASP system, because you've updated or you've uploaded your GSSA log, it automatically accepts the fact that it is complete and credits you with having done your CPD. Okay, so I'm going to just repeat that. Even though you haven't logged your credits on the SACNASP system and you've logged your credits on the GSSA system, the fact that you have uploaded your documents, your GSSA log to the SACNASP profile, SACNASP then reads it as you are compliant. Now, if you're a GSSA member and you have elected to do your CPD credits on the SACNASP system, that's fine. You can download your CPD certificate from the SACNASP website. Now, that is useful to attach it to your CV. If you are applying for chartered status within the GSSA, you will need to attach that certificate to your application. And for any other reason, if the GSSA requests it, you can submit it. But you wouldn't do so unless particularly requested to. Andrea, no, you can only log points for the current 5-year cycle. The previous cycle disappears. A dual membership of the GSSA, yes, you will each have a separate profile on the GSSA site because you'll have different membership numbers. So in summary, you can choose where you want to log your credits. You can do it through the GSSA, or you can do it through the SACNASP system. Compliance with one system is deemed to be compliance with the other system. They are two totally separate systems and a completely different in their points allocation. One is not necessarily easier than the other. They're different. But if you're compliant in one system, you will be deemed to be compliant in the other system. So you do not have to do both. A reminder also that it's a self-directed process and is your personal responsibility. You decide which courses you want to do. It's not your company or your body that is responsible for providing activities or even paying for activities. And SACNASP, the GSSA, is not responsible for logging, keeping track of, or submitting your CPD credits. Your personal responsibility. Having said that, employers don't have to provide training opportunities and financial support, but they can, and some of them do. It might not be financial. They might not pay for you to go on courses, but they may allow you to take time off to do so. They may allow you to take time off for postgraduate studies. They may provide other sorts of support for postgrad studies or publishing papers, or even supporting GSSA branch activities. Also, it's important to note that the mining charter obliges companies to invest in human resource development and implement career progression plans. So discuss your program with your company. There's a possibility that they might be able to assist there. Been attending workshops and acquired CPD certificates, but you couldn't log on to registration with SACNASP has only been finalized. Do you mean you've applied for SACNASP registration in April 2020, but you haven't been finalized in the last 2 years? Well, firstly, what you need to do is to chase up SACNASP to get your registration finalized, because then it's sitting with them somewhere. Okay, Lufuna, you need to follow up with them on that, because that is a bit of a problem. Generally, your points would be forfeited during that time period. But if they've only finalize your registration now, you will really only need to acquire points from now going forward. You won't need to worry about anything that was previous to that. Collecting CPD points is like running up an escalator that goes down. It's an effort. It's a lot of work. And it's something that you continuously need to keep in mind. But you as a geoscientist need to improve or develop yourself You are responsible for your own personal development, where you want to be in 5 or 10 years' time. Don't look at the whole CPD system as simply collecting credits. It's about personal development. Olivia, you didn't hear the answer to Andrea's question. That was referring to, you can only log CPD credits for the current cycle under SACNASP. Under the GSSA system, you can go back to 2014 and add CPD activities all ever since then. Yeah, Andrea, I feel your pain about the issues with the SACNASP website. As you say, just keep trying. Or alternatively, log it on the GSSA system. Our website works. And that brings us to the conclusion of this presentation. Does anybody have any question that they would like to ask at this stage? Okay, so if nobody has a question, remember that you will get the recording of this in the next couple of days. You will also get the PDF of the presentation. And if you have any questions, queries going forward, please send us a mail via the GSSA. And yes, this webinar does count towards your points, and you will get a certificate. It will generally happen within the next couple of days. So thank you all for your time, and please have a look at the website for some of our free events going forward, also some of our paid events. And there is the professionalism and ethics course later in the year that you're all very welcome to join, as well as there's a free drilling course to be held in August, the 1st of August. Please log in for that as well if you want. Okay, last chance. Any questions? Okay, guys, thank you all very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to close the session now. Bye.